Winners of 2 straight. That is something that we have not said in a very long time about this Orlando Magic basketball team. They are now winners of 3 of their last 4 games as well. They beat the Lakers tonight 118-106. We're going to be talking about the big win over the Western Conference foe, Los Angeles Lakers, in tonight's video, as well as Dwight Howard. He was honored in today's game. We're going to be talking a little bit about that, reminiscing on the early 2010s, mid to late 2000s Orlando Magic basketball teams. I think it'd be a fun way to end tonight's video. Dwight Howard obviously was being honored tonight. He was all over the broadcast if you're watching the game. So it was a fun time. Guys, welcome in, as always. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We're at 926. We're trying to get to 1,000. 75% of you who are watching these videos regularly aren't subscribed, so make sure to join the 25%. Let's try to get to 1K. We're almost there. We're kind of pushing towards the final stretch here, if you will. So let's continue on doing it. As always, I'm your host, Patrick Previty. Let's get into the box score because it's a post game. You know what we do. Okay. Big story, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero leading the way 30 and 32, combining for 62 of the team's 118 points. And if you guys are good at math, that would be over half of the Orlando Magic's points. So, as always, those guys carrying the load and probably wouldn't want it any other way at this point. This is just the way the team's built. But who else do I see there off the bench before we get to some of the other notable players and their storylines for the Magic? It's Anthony Black, somebody who I made a video on just earlier in this sometime last week, I should say. He had 17 points, 7 of 10 from the floor, 3 of 5 from 3. He had 6 assists. He had 30 minutes compared to Corey Joseph's 17 minutes. That is probably the biggest thing. He did not start, but potentially that could be coming for him down the road. He was really sharp today, and part of that is in a win, because this team was able to dominate the third quarter, jump out to a bigger lead. He was able to get some of those reps that were less pressure, like less of a high pressure scenario. That was always great to see. Anthony Black was the difference maker when Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner put this team in a position to win. Wendell Carter Jr., 32 minutes. He got 12 points. Like I said, Corey Joseph also did not play bad. He just didn't really have the impact on the game like Anthony Black did, so you have to shout out Anthony Black for being the best guard in this game. KCP did show up here as well. Shot the three-point shot very well, 3 of 6, 9 points. So we'll take it, especially with what we've gotten from him this year. Bataze did not enter the game until later in the third. Isaac was that center off the bench for this team, but he didn't play a ton. We've seen both him and Bataze's minutes go down, way down. Tristan da Silva just seemed like he was not a part of tonight's game plan as much. Caleb Houston got some runs, so that was always really interesting to see. He certainly got his shots up from 3. Gary Harris, mainly cardio, but mainly into the game stuff. So nothing really to see there. And that was just kind of how the cookie crumbled for the Orlando Magic and all of their storylines. It's kind of the same thing that we've been seeing with Jamahl Mosley as far as his rotations go for the front court, but definitely very interesting with him experimenting a little bit more with Caleb Houston and Tristan da Silva, kind of seeing the back end of that. I usually make these after the coach's comments, but I'm making this one right before, so this might be something I'll include in the next video to follow up if I see something that is more telling about the minutes and why those players played where they were. Let's take a look at what happened with the Lakers and their box score. Well, LeBron James came back, but he wasn't as sharp, and neither was Austin Reeves. They both weren't really all that sharp. Luka Doncic was able to get to the line. He had 32 points, 7-7. He played extremely well. They didn't get a ton of bench scoring, and that's kind of where their problems ended up occurring. You had their main guys plus Dorian Finney-Smith, who played pretty well. And then they didn't really get a ton of production, especially off their bench. They only got 1 3 made off of their bench, and their defense is just nowhere near as strong to be able to combat that. It's a similar thing with the Orlando Magic. If their defense for the Magic folds, their offense is nowhere near capable of making up for it. It's the same for the Lakers right now. And, they're much improved. They're certainly a better team now, especially after the All-Star break. And when LeBron is healthy, we know that this team is going to be a force, especially in the Western Conference. But today, it wasn't really so much the case. They didn't really shoot the ball extremely well, and the Magic certainly outshot them. The Magic shot 8 more threes, but made 5 more, so we'll take that. They also shot 3% more or higher from the floor than the Lakers did. So the Magic were able to score and put the ball in the bucket when they needed to, and they did it at a more efficient rate than the Lakers tonight. So very positive outcome for the Magic. There were no crazy disparities in any of the statistics, the main team statistics such as turnovers, rebounds, points off of turnovers, fouls, free throws. Even I believe the Lakers won the free throw battle, if I can remember correctly. Yeah, the Lakers won the free throw battle by 5. So nothing was crazy. Nothing stood out in that realm. It was just mainly, I think, the Magic shot better tonight, had both of their main guys going, and the Lakers just could not handle it defensively, which makes sense. So I did want to highlight a little bit Franz Wagner before I kind of get into some of the other talk about Dwight Howard. Was just, we have all this talk about who is the number one player on this team, who is the main franchise guy. The Martians pointing the death beam on Earth. Who's going to take the shot for the Orlando Magic? Is it going to be Franz? Is it going to be Paolo? Well, look, I got to be honest. I'm more of a Paolo guy. I think he's got that higher ceiling, that higher peak. And when he was hurt, came back from his injury and wasn't the same, I was defending him. I was saying like, hey, we need him to be back, but I was defending him. I knew he would get back. But Franz Wagner should not go, even in the flowers given to Paolo, unnoticed. He should not be unnoticed because this is a guy who played extremely well in the Olympics over last summer now, and has just been a force to be reckoned with. And he also dealt with that same injury, the oblique, and he's got some nights where he's got some bad matchups against a rim protector. He's got some bad matchups against maybe a very, very versatile wing defender who's going to try to stop him driving. He's got nights where he can't kick it out to players on the Magic because we've hit 8 of 35 threes. But he still kind of finds a way to make it work. And he doesn't really back down, especially as the games go on. I don't really see him getting all that timid ever. And he's an Iron Man despite getting injured back in December. He's been really, really consistent for this team. And he may, in my opinion, not be the absolute best on this team, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if he does overtake Paolo. It's a very mute conversation, and it's not something that's very important. But he deserves his appreciation because he's very good. And if he is truly the 2 on this team, like maybe I think he is, some other people do, doesn't really matter. Like I can continue to say, he's a really, really good 2. And he's definitely, in my opinion, a 2 that is worthy of a championship team. He could be the 2 on a championship contending team in the NBA. So that's a great sign regardless for the Orlando Magic. Well, tonight was also Dwight Howard's night for the Magic, and he gets a lot of hate. I think some other stuff has happened, and then obviously the way that he left the Magic, but I think it's a very cool thing that the Magic have been able to appreciate some of their history. This team this organization is still a young organization, one that kind of was able to catch a little bit of fire with Magic, Penny, Nick Anderson, all those guys, and was able to go to the finals. Unfortunate, a sweep occurred, but obviously we're able to kind of catch something, and then Shaq left, and the Penny years were kind of more so injuries. He left, and then kind of revitalized by maybe the potential of Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, and those guys being able to put some together, injuries and inconsistencies, and then Dwight Howard was the guy, and he really brought this organization to a different level of relevancy. And I think it's really, really nice that despite having success before and after, that this team can really appreciate where something serious comes through their doors and is just so great. And that was really what Dwight Howard was. I mean, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, this guy was extremely great, and he should be appreciated, and he was appreciated. When he was in a Magic jersey, he was very good, and he was probably better than maybe your favorite player, unless he was LeBron James or Kobe. During that time period, Dwight Howard was the guy. Like, he was the man, especially in 08, especially and even a couple of the years leading up, leading after that, 08, 09, like he was a beast and got to respect it. So I think it was really awesome to see. And, the Magic have had success certainly with, since he's left, and, with Vooch and those guys, moderate playoff stuff, and now hopefully building for the future even brighter than what we were at in the mid 2000s. But got to appreciate it when you get it. And I certainly think tonight's one of those nights where I'm proud that the Orlando Magic were able to do that, or as an organization, and get a win. Because tonight was against the Lakers, which was a little weird, right? Because he had 2 stints with the Lakers, won a championship with the Lakers, and left and got, not left, but, demanded a trade and got traded to the Lakers from the Magic. So just overall weird choice, but Magic got the win. Dwight Howard got honored. It's all great, and Magic world right now. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.